Peace and blessings, everybody. This is your guy, Rashawn, and this is Space Invaders TV. Welcome. It is Saturday morning, July the 10th, 2021, and I just wanted to jump on real briefly here and talk about something that I felt almost hits close to home, the situation. Um, but first, before I go into this, I want to say peace and blessings to the Grant family. Uh, Patricia Grant, uh, a woman, 72-year-old woman that was shot and killed at a Speedway on Battleground Avenue in Greensboro, North Carolina. Um, I want to say condolences to her family, peace and blessings. May the Most High be pleased with her life, and it's just a sad, tragic situation that happened. You know, you work a job, and all you want to do, you do your job, you clock in, you want to do your time at your job, and you just want to go home and relax with your family or whatever it is. You just want to make it back home. You know, you do your work for the day, and you just want to make it back home. Um, I can imagine, you know, the family, her family getting that call that their mother, grandmother, their sister, auntie is has been shot at work, not hurting anyone, not doing any harm to anybody. It's just at work. You're there to service the community, and someone takes your life. Peace and blessings to her family. Again, Patricia Grant, uh, the young man that shot and killed her, young man, 19-year-old Avion Bell, and it's tragic on both sides of the spectrum, because here's a young man that obviously is clearly that he's been failed. I want to know, like, his mental state. It's obvious that this young man suffers from mental health issues. It's obvious. I mean, we have to stop today, and I'm not, and this is at no place. Anyone, please forgive me. Please don't misconstrue me or anything. This is not in any shape or form blaming Miss Patricia Grant for someone murdering her. This is in no shape or form that. I'm just trying to. We gotta balance the scale here. When when somebody does something that doesn't make sense to us today, we have to really step back, because for so many years it's been ignored. When we seen people doing things that just did not make sense to our sane mind. So this young man has had run-ins before and done things in the school system, uh, theft, robbery, you know. Okay, and he just came out from doing 2 years for those crimes, and the judge released Mr. Avion Bell on the terms that he would be turned back to school and get his GED. Pretty much straighten himself up, giving him a chance to get on the straight and narrow. So he comes out and he does the same thing that got him arrested and sent to prison the first time. Well, not the first time, but got him sent to prison. He comes out and do the thing that got him sent to prison. And he was only, like, I want to say, they said he was out maybe, what, he got out in April, so he only was out here on the streets for about 2 months, 2.5 months or something like that. So he comes right back out and does something even worse. He shoots and kills an innocent woman, a working class woman. All she wants to do is clock in, do her job, and go home. That's it. You know, a tax-paying citizen. She posing no threat to anyone. But on that day, July, July the 1st, she was in the way of Avion Bell and the demon that was on him, being with that mental health. It's a sad thing, because this young man is, he's checked. He's not really checked in with what's going on. You can look into that young man's eyes and you can see, and it hit home with me because I have a nephew that suffers from mental health, and he's in jail right now too, and not in North Carolina, but he's been in jail since 2018 for a crime that he committed. He ran over an innocent man or what have you, and killed that man. But my nephew he suffers from mental health, issues. He's documented and everything. And I still don't understand, and I still believe that, and I know that the court system, I don't, they're in, when it comes to the crimes, they're in denial of those situations. We can't always look at these these folks that deal with mental health and look at them as like they're animals. They're humans, and they're really dealing with a mental issue that they have no control of, and sometimes they offer their meds. They're not taking their meds. We gotta understand that just because we don't see, I guess you want to say, the traditional look of mental health is someone walking around talking to themselves and things, or maybe looking up in the sky and for for hours or whatever, and just talking into the sky and walking around and looking around and just looking paranoid, and you know that's not the only look of mental health. You know, you have some people who don't take their meds. They're dealing with mental issues. Their mind doesn't work like our mind, and I'm not giving no excuse or blaming Patricia Grant. So please, her family members or friends, please, no one mistake what I'm saying. I'm not blaming her, and I'm not blaming anyone uh, whose family member or anyone who was a victim of someone who suffered from mental health. I'm not blaming anyone. What I'm just trying to explain here is that when you're talking about this young man here, Avion Bell, something was missing here. Um, there's so many things and so many factors that play in, and we can talk for hours and hours. I'm not an expert on mental health, but I'm just a expert, I believe, on life and our surroundings. And this young man has obviously been failed and overlooked, and what's really been before other adults' eyes. Or some people are just some people are just really ignorant to the fact what mental health is. And only time it seems that people seem to pay attention to any mental health issues is when it affects them, when it becomes present in their life, when it's facing them, when they're staring at it. It's the only time it seems that most would check in with it and identify with it. It is serious. You gotta imagine, like, with someone, like, would you get up and how your mind thinks of the sane mind, You may have your day planned out and what you have to do for the day, your to-do task and everything. When you have someone with mental health, their mind is never resting. Their mind is always going. It's like a car that doesn't shut off. They just, you know. And it was prevalent with me because I have a sister that deals, my nephew, he suffers from mental health, and as well as his mother, my sister. And so this situation really hit home with me because, you know, my sister also, she had just visited me here, and she visited me here a week ago, and I haven't seen her in quite some time, and I knew that she was off her meds as well, and I was just, you know, you have to have patience when you're dealing with these folks, and sometimes, a lot of times when they dealing with those mental health issues, sometimes sometimes you have to agree with them to get them to do certain things. If it makes sense, and if you have ever dealt with anyone, or if you work in the mental health field, you may understand where I'm coming from. Sometimes you have to agree with some of the things to get them to, but even though it's not right what they may be saying, you have to agree with them on certain things to get them to move along. Because if not, you'll stay stuck with them and going back and forth with them on certain issues. So you have to do certain things, whether you don't agree with them, to get them to move along. So that leads me to say, if you work in retail, right? And I know oftentimes when, and I've told you guys before, I was a manager in retail, fast food, and the clothing sector. And when you're in retail and you work in a cash register, you're dealing with that money. It's not worth it to if somebody comes in with a gun and they're trying to rob you, they want what's in that register, give it up. That's the first thing. Your life is worth more than what's in that register. They can make that money back. You can't bring your life back. Once you're gone, you're gone. You know. What's the use of defending something that's not yours? And you don't have a weapon yourself, and you standing there in this business, and you're just there to do your job. You go to work every day. You just want to go get back home every day safe. That's it. The mission when you come out into the world is to get back home safe, alive. So Miss Patricia Grant, I guess, it's not, I guess, it's documented that she told Avion came into the store demanding cash in the register. She told him no. And not just anyone with mental health. If anyone has a gun in your face and then demanding cash, let's be clear here. Mentally, something is going on in their life. If to walk into a business with a gun and point it at you and say, "Give me what's in that safe." Mentally, something is going on with you, period. You don't even have to be diagnosed. There's something is going on with you mentally in your life for you to walk in, for it to get. Could you imagine it getting that bad in your life that you walking into a store with a gun, you risking it all? People with sane minds have done that, robbed stores. Something serious is going on in their life. But it's not you to try to figure that out. Well, your job at that point is, it's no longer to ring anyone up. Your job is no longer, or not, to sit there and try to fight someone with a weapon in your face. that can just take your life in a blink of an eye. Your job at that point is to just adhere to what they say, give it up. Hey, if it's cameras in the store, that's even better. That makes it easier for the law enforcement and your company to track down the culprit and and actually get to see footage of everything that happened. So, hey, hey, if you think you're gonna lose, if a company fires you for opening up the register because someone had a gun in your face threatening your life, then you absolutely know that that company cared nothing about you or your life. So, hey, I don't know no one. I don't know a district manager. I don't know a regional manager that will sit behind a register and and a robber come in with a gun pointed to them would not give up what's in that drawer. And even if they asked them what's in the safe, they would not give up what's in that safe to make it back home to their loved ones. So I hope that Speedway, I hope that you Speedway gas stop, I hope that all your locations that you go back and you train, or you make sure when you training people to work your registers, because mainly in these gas station stash convenience stores, that's all you're really doing. 95% of your job is to work the cash register. So I hope that you guys will implement something in your training to let your employees know if someone comes in with a gun, someone comes in a weapon and threaten your life, and they want that safe, give it up. Don't stand there and tell the person no. That's only gonna piss that robber off. You know, because now he come in with a weapon. That's like a form of 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 authority. So he shakes the weapon in your face and say, "Hey, give me what's in that safe." In his mind or her mind, who you're gonna give up what they asking you for because they have this gun. But when you say no, it's like, oh, you challenging me and you don't have a weapon, you know, and that's how things go wrong. So once again, I say peace and blessings. May the Most High be pleased with Miss Patricia Grant's life. May He welcome her into heaven with open arms. May He surround her family, pull them close in this time. May He cover them in this time. May He also touch the young man Avion Bell and his family at this time, because there are two families that are hurting right now as well. And I believe Mr. Avion Bell's family may have been hurting because they may have known of his condition. But the thing that strikes me is that the news, the media, what's so interesting is you see the Parkland shooter, you see the guy that went in the church in South Carolina, and in Charleston, South Carolina, and shot those people that were in the house of worship. That's an animal. But what's amazing is how they immediately, these some of these different shooters and things of that nature, they immediately would diagnose them and say, "Oh, it's mental health." But what amazed me with the media is that how I can't say it amazed me. I know what it is, but it's still like just makes you like. You look at this young man Avion Bell and you look at him as a stone cold killer, when obviously it has to be something deeper. But what's so funny is that most people will only dissect things that go deeper and dissect things when they want to. And it's like, who talked to this young man's family, after after they caught him? Did the media talk to his parents or anyone in his family? Anyone talked about his history, his mental health? You know, no. Only thing that's been pushed is that this young man is like he's a beast or something like that. When it's clearly this young man, it's not all the way there, you know, if there at all. And then there was a young woman, it was a woman that was a victim of Avion Bell. I think I want to say back in sometime in 2019. Her name was Crystal Austin. And what really, now this what really was made me like, wow, when she spoke her story about how Avion Bell walked up on her car again here in Greensboro, and he knocked on her window and he attempted to rob her. So he wanted what he wanted cash from her. He wanted her car. She wouldn't give up her car. She gave him cash. But what made him flee was when she reached in her bag and pulled her gun out. But then she goes on to say after that, and the news allowed that to run. She said, well, maybe I should have. Now I think, I know he was a young man, and I looked in his eyes and I said he was young. I could tell he was young, but, you know, so I didn't want to hurt him. But now that he killed that woman, I think back like maybe I should have killed him. Now I sat back and I said, wow, so we just gonna let this play on the news? We're gonna let, we're gonna let her say that. You didn't edit that out or anything. And it played again later on that night. You didn't edit that out, News 2. And that was amazing. Like nobody, like why we need to hear that part again? Like you heard it one time, you guys should have edited it out from the beginning. Then when she said it, okay, you should have stopped it then and edited it, and not let that play on the news. But you did. You see, when things happen, we have people that play around and play these games, or we want to have this eye for an eye mentality. No, it's not anyone's. No, it's not one. It's not any of the citizens' job to sit here and try to figure out why that young man did it. I understand some people say, oh, he should go to jail. Anyone kills anyone, go to jail. They should go to jail for the rest of their life if you kill someone. Indeed. Agreed. But if it's someone dealing with a mental health issue, we have to really pull back the layers and pull back the sheet on some things. And a lot of things are right in front of our face. And some folks are quick to judge. We should be quick to listen and slow to respond. And I sat back and I listened and I looked at, the situation, and I said, wow, okay, so this happened here. This has been running and cycling in the news here with Miss Patricia Grant's death. But there was also on the following day. That happened on I want to say that happened July the 1st. On July 2nd, the wee hours in the morning at 1 a.m., there was someone, we don't even know if it was a man or a woman. All we heard was at another convenience store, not far not that far from this convenience store on Battleground Avenue on West Market Street. We had a Great Stops that got robbed. They said the Great Stops got robbed. We never heard who was the cashier working there. We just heard the Great Stops got robbed. Don't know who the cashier was there. Now, there's some mental health issues. There's some mental issues that could have, you know, something that could have happened to that cashier, whoever that cashier was that night, man or woman. That that gun could have got pointed at their face. That could have done something to them mentally, like, you know, being in the store, you working, it's late night already. Sometimes, you know, working at nights, and you know, and you working and you're open. You're you're already like on the edge a little bit, you know, and hoping that nobody does walk in there like that, and then something like that happens to you. That can do something to you. We never heard who the person, the cashier that got robbed at that on July the 2nd of 2021 at the Great Stops. They said the Great Stops got robbed. No, it was a person who walked into Great Stops and robbed an employee. That's what it was. The Great Stops didn't get robbed. It was someone walking in the Great Stops that robbed someone, that robbed the employee. We never got that name. You see, the news, we gotta, you know, we gotta do better. These news stations, it's really, to me, when I watch media today, it's really reckless to me, and that's why you see so many uh, YouTube bloggers, Instagram bloggers that report news and things of that nature. You know, because you have these news stations. The way that they're putting out news today and how they're displaying it is really, it's really reckless, and it's really clear on a lot of levels that I'm not gonna touch on right now. Um, but it just amazes me, just like to go back to the whole thing where they let the young lady say, the young lady Crystal, I wouldn't say young lady, she's an older woman. Her name was Crystal Austin. When they let her say she should have killed Avion Bell on the news, like, you say that, like she should have killed him. Like, wow. Like, we already, the public has already been presented with one death, that actually happened, and then the news cycle, they're reporting that news, and then at the same time they're letting another woman still speak death. Still, no one ever recognizing and saying, hey, maybe something's wrong with that young man. But I know some feel it's not their job to say anything about that, but they feel their job to say, hey, kill a person, or he should do life in prison. It's amazing. But I just wanted to touch on that, folks. Again, like I said, it's Saturday morning. I just wanted to stop and do this video because it just bothered me. And News 2, all you local media stations around here, News 2, Fox 8 in Greensboro, for the North Carolina triad area, y'all need to do better the way y'all report news. Y'all need to be fair about how y'all report news. Like I said, the woman Patricia Grant, 72-year-old, was shot and killed while she was working, just doing her job every day, by a young man named Avion Bell. Well, it was clear and evident that there's something wrong with that young man mentally. But we reported her being shot and killed, and it's been running on the news ever since July 1st. It's been in a cycle. But on July the 2nd, there was someone robbed. Not far from there, not that many miles away from there. at a Great Stops on West Market Street in Greensboro at 1 a.m. on July 2nd. He never got the name of that person. They said the Great Stops was robbed. No, someone walked in the Great Stops and robbed an employee that was working a cash register. Has anyone checked on the mental status of that employee? Because that can be traumatizing. But hey, man, it's just the way of the world. It's the way of the world today. People don't care how. They don't, some people act like they care about people, and people don't care. The news, the media got to understand that they got a job to uphold. And when there's some ethics and morals about how they do things, if we're going to report on things happening in the community, let's report on them all the way. Let's speak on, there were 2 separate robberies here, hours apart, pretty much. Yeah, okay, just because that person at Great Stops, so I guess that person at Great Stops had to get killed for you to put a name out there of who they were, or for you to talk to them. They may, even if they didn't want to be on camera, to talk to them to get their story and maybe what they're feeling, But I know today the news is also one-sided. The news today, the media today, it has tunnel vision, you know. That even just goes back to when I think about the COVID. There was so much tunnel vision. They were just talking about that, but meanwhile, with so many other things going on too, outside of that. But it was the fear they were pumping at that time. They continue to pump fear. They continue to mess with, that bothered and struck people's anxiety, rose a lot of people's anxiety to the roof. Even today now that things are starting to loosen up, they say they wonder why folks aren't going back to work. There's a lot of people that dealt with anxiety, that had those deal with anxiety issues. Some people are now, you spend a whole 12 months telling people to watch out for this and quarantine and stay in the house and don't touch this, wash your hands with this and that. That bothered people. People may no longer want to, if they worked around the public, they don't no longer want to be around the public like that. It's going to take them a while to get back mentally right from that, because you played on folks' mental. And this is all I'm saying. We got to stop playing the mental game here and start speaking on what we're seeing and telling it how it is. Being honest with it and fair. But I don't know. I guess I'm just that. I guess a lot of some people, like I spoke on the other day. You gotta have it. It gotta be in you. Morals, ethics, respect, pride. You know what I'm saying? Taking ownership. I don't know. But I don't want to keep rambling on, folks. Hey, like I said again, it's Saturday, July 10th, 2021. Hope you folks enjoy the rest of your weekend here. Peace and blessings. And I'll be talking to you soon. And we got some more to talk about when we talk about the education system as well, too, in Guilford County. I got more coming up for you guys on that as well. But you guys stay safe. Peace and blessings. It's your guy, Rashawn, a.k.a. Looker, and this is Space Invaders.